What up, folks? This your boy GQ, the Shy Boy. Welcome to another episode of Talk That Mess, the gentleman's perspective to shit that happens. Today, we're going to be discussing the principles of a compound effect. The Compound Effect is a book that I've read several times, and I thought it would be really cool to do a podcast on it because there's a lot of great principles and a lot of great thought-provoking ideas presented in the book that applies to everyday life, man. So I invited a couple of friends that I know. I perceive them to be strong links in my circle of my network circle. And I also thought it'd be important to get a woman's perspective as well as a gentleman's perspective, aside from myself, to talk that shit on how the compound effect affects their lives and how the principles affects their strategy of their life and how they go on to do other things. So, you know, just an overarching synopsis of what the book is about in principle is rooted in the understanding that you already know exactly what you need to do to succeed. You don't need to learn anything else. You don't need to take another class. You don't need to get stuck in that perpetual mouse wheel of gathering information before you start executing the strategies to which you already know that you need to do, basically. So all we need is to take the existing information that we already know and put that into an executable plan and work that plan to create new behaviors, new habits that over time orientate new ideas and small successes into much larger ones. I invite you to take this ride with us as we open up and be transparent and talk that mess. Listen up. I got something to say. Listen up. I got something to say. Peter Piper pick the pepper, and I drop rhymes, and I'ma talk that shit, cause I back rhymes. So don't sleep, listen up, I got something to say. Rise up, live life, and keep the haters at bay. Hey. But I talk that shit. Hey. But I talk that shit. Hey. But I talk that shit. I had a awakening, like in 2013. And I was like, man, I need to start changing it up. Like, as far as like the people that I'm with, hanging around, stuff like that. So I figured you can't just like automatically start hanging around better quality people, you know, just because one wants to do it. You have to start putting yourself in situations where you can meet somebody of quality, to surround yourself around. So that started for me like in 2014. Excuse me. I joined Toastmasters. I joined a top 10 club, Toastmasters, called the Brightwood Ashburn Overcomers. And within like a couple of months of being there, I was like the only dude in the membership. And then that's how I met Maurice. Maurice, he comes in with a couple of his guys and they checking it out. And after the meeting, he comes over. Well, I go over to him and I'm like, "What's up, brother? How you doing? You know, my name Quentin Brunch, blah, 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 whatever." So he's like, "Hey man, let me ask you a question." He's like, "This is cool and all, but where the men at?" And I was like, "What? I'm standing right here, dude." I'm like, "Okay, so that's why we need you to join, bro, because we trying to take this to a whole nother level. We need to bring some testosterone into the environment to get a balance, and plus it's just a good place to start meeting good people or whatever." So long story short, he and I started like sharing ideas, brainstorming, mind mapping, doing a lot of, we did a lot of talking like for the first year. And then I think it was 2017, last year, Natasha, he and I, we hosted a cash flow meetup game every fourth Saturday of 2017. We didn't miss a Saturday except for November, which was due to the holiday season of Thanksgiving and Christmas. But from January to October, we was on every fourth Saturday without fail. Just being there, trying to be a resource for the community and have a little fun at the same time. And so That's what that was. That's how I met Maurice. And I know that Maurice, he's a go-getter. This dude, he is one of the mindset that, you formulate a thought, you write a plan, and then you execute the action. He doing that as a current real estate investor. I know that for a fact. This man left his job to become a union apprenticed electrician, just so he can get more of an understanding of the real estate or the different processes and aspects of real estate, so he can become multidimensional. And of course, the reason why he joined Toastmasters to begin with was because he was always wanted to be an inspired speaker. Everybody ain't gonna be about that life. They talk about that shit, but everybody ain't gonna be about it. But it's gonna be maybe one person, maybe two in the room, depending on how many people are there, that's gonna be on what you own. And then you're gonna gravitate to that. And that's gonna be the start of your new network of replacing your weak links, so to speak.
Yeah, because I've cut everyone off. I need new links.
Because I always tell people, like, you ain't gotta. I don't like shit like the whole concept of no new friends, right? Because that's some bullshit. Like, people change, and just as people elevate and rise, some people fight to stay grounded at the same level they've always been. So a natural aspect of change is that if I'm going to fly, I got to let go of everything that weighs me down. And that includes bad relationships. So it's natural that you ain't going to stay with all your day ones. And you can't expect not to make new friends, because new friends, it just shows the elevation of your lifestyle and your character. So anyway, Reese, and to my fellow world out there, let me tell you about Natasha Ashford. So again, keeping with that same concept of positioning yourself in the agency for change, going back to Boston, I remember I was curious. I was so infatuated with the landscape and just the environment that I was staying in for those 2 weeks. I got on Indeed.com, which is like a job search website. Based on my current skill set and my experience that I have, I was looking up what kind of jobs they had available out there and how much they paid. I come up on this one position, and the starting hourly rate for that position was $65 an hour. I was like, shit, $65 an hour with no OT, like 40 hours a week? Come on, man, that'll get you right. So the only thing that was missing from that skill set that I didn't have, because I had everything that they want except for one thing, and that was a PMP certification. And so I'm like, damn, so a person with my exact same skill set can get $65 an hour if I had a PMP. So anyway, I decided to start looking for opportunities to try to get that experience and undergo this path of project management. So one of the first things that I did was, when I came back to Chicago, I joined the Chicago chapter of the Project Management Institute. Every month, the chapter has a dinner, which is an opportunity to meet other project management professionals in your region, as well as employers that's looking to bring on project managers, and to get some continuing education and opportunities for PDUs for people that have to maintain their designation. So anyway, I saw this veteran group get up and present a project that they have been working on to the whole chapter. And I was like, damn, man, these cats are vets. I'm a vet. So I rode up on them. Like, I rode up on this one brother. I broke guy protocol, Reese. And I started speaking to him in the bathroom, because I was in the restroom. He came in the restroom, and I'm like, man, I know this ain't something we're supposed to do, but this is an opportunity. So I was like, hey, brother, blah, blah, blah. How can I get into that program that you in, or whatever? Man, that dude, we washed our hands, came out the bathroom, we shook up. He walked me right to the table of the people that coordinate that program. and introduced me to him as if we was already friends. And they was like, yo, so tell us about you. I told him a little elevator pitch. Boom. He was like, well, we could put you in a class that's starting next week. I started the class in the fall. And in that class is where I met Natasha. I was on a group that was really powerful with a bunch of smart individuals. And I thought we had a great project that we was going to win and present to that dinner, which was like my first experience to the whole deal. But we unfortunately lost. We lost to Natasha's group. And
Yay, us.
and actually, she was, I don't know, were you the project manager for your group?
I was the project manager for my group.
So she was the project manager for the group. And they in turn got a chance to present their project to a bunch of industry professionals and experts in project management. And I knew right then and there. I mean, we had been, sidebarring a little bit in class anyway throughout that time. But I knew at that point that, there was a connection as far as, a relationship, somebody that you can, bounce ideas off, similar to like I had with you, Reese. So I'm like, okay, we exchanged information and we stayed in touch ever since. So that is the story of how I met Natasha, who is, man, she's doing the most. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Multifaceted.
Multifaceted. I mean, she's a single mother of 3 with a bachelor's degree in psychology. She's an entrepreneur and the owner of 4 Winds Real Estate Solutions. And this is my sister.
Watch out for my website.
Watch out for your website. We could put that in the show notes. Look at me trying to get tech. The show notes.
Like it.
It's where you show notes, right?
Absolutely. No pun intended.
That's very powerful though. I would personally like to say that yes, throughout the journey of personal development and just researching, I would say that females are highly intelligent when it comes to business. Is very hard, especially when you have a isolated group such as that. When it's not predominantly male based, you can typically get outbeat by a female because the way they put things together. I'm not ashamed to say that that females are highly intelligent, and that's a hell of a competition that you have.
Mm-hmm. So that's exactly why I thought it was highly important. I was like, man, me and Maurice, we did this whole thing with the digesting different audiobooks on the go, and then we'll have like a mastermind about it. I was like, man, we should kind of revisit this concept, but offer invite a female's perspective to the whole situation, because when life gets in the way, it kind of distracts you a little bit from the person you want to be. Like present circumstance, can be somewhat of a distraction. So I was like, man, I knew Natasha needed the realignment, the recalibration of the higher consciousness, staying at the highest level of consciousness. So I was like, man, once you get that compound effect, jump into it, and then we'll have a discussion about some of the principles, man, and how we can apply that, what it applies to and how we can apply it to future circumstance, so that we always thinking in our best mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I said that too. I remember telling you that I think that my vocabulary has suffered because I've been at home so long with my babies. So everything I say is like 3-letter words, 4-letter words. No, don't, stop. So I don't remember college at this point. Yeah, but I want to be a perpetual learner, so I am back out here trying to figure it out all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's what we need. We need that push and that support system that helps you stay on track. Just even with us even talking about the compound effect, it's something that when I first read the book, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was something to implement in your everyday life for a long term, and just when me and Q started talking about the compound effect, I really seen that this is very beneficial, especially when it comes to a mastermind group. But sometimes you like you were saying, you get sidetracked, life gets in the way. And that's something, as far as the principles that the compound effect teaches, it kind of slowly, left the thought process of what to do on a daily basis. And when he told me about even just this, just digesting the book within a few episodes, it really made me revisit the book and think, man, this is something that I need to stay in tune with, because it's a lot of principles that, no matter if it's relationship wise, my spouse, job wise, career wise, whatever the case might be, the compound effect is something that really can be implemented in a lot of things that you're doing. And sometimes that's all it takes, is for us to keep it simple. We overcomplex things and just get to thinking like it has to be more difficult. You have to do more than what you're thinking about. But when you just revisit the things that you learned, it really helps you simplify things and say, okay, I need to stick to these key principles to be able to execute and achieve some of my goals. And I mean, it's just it narrows down to the support system, the consistency of us staying on top of those core principles to help you realize, okay, I'm getting sidetracked, or I need to stay on top of this, because it's really going to help me reach my goals a lot faster.
Right. Well, I felt that it was, it gives you like a roadmap in life, like things you need to focus on. And one of the major principles that he spoke about was being successful. And he was saying like how you can't be successful unless your family life is in order. So for me, that means to have my daughters in a routine of doing things daily, so it's second nature to them, so that I don't have to get up earlier than them and tell them, hey, it's time for you to get up, it's time for you to get breakfast, it's time for you to get dressed. Like, I want those to be things that they already know to do on their own. So I've been working on getting them into a routine so that they can do those things. And I like this concept he put together, which is preparation plus attitude plus opportunity plus action leads to luck. And so I have found luck in doing those things and preparing my children. So I feel like by the time that they are 5 and 6, I don't have to do the same thing every day, wake them up at 5, get them dressed for the day. They can do those things on their own. So that leaves me more time to be able to go and do whatever I need to do, because I've squandered enough time at this point. So that was something that I took from the first few chapters that I'm really liking.
So, I only want to cover a couple of principles because there's a lot of meat and potatoes in this book. But I think we can have a discussion about a couple of things. Making small changes can yield results like losing weight, getting a promotion, or thriving in a relationship. I know myself, when I joined Toastmasters, I made it a point to listen more, because I realized that I'm a talker. And sometimes I'm when I'm wrong, I don't necessarily like admitting it, and I'm human, and that's fine. But one of the things that I wanted to consciously work on was my ability to listen to other people and to listen intently, like try to take something valuable from what they're saying and add it to my experience, or give them some meaningful feedback on their experience. So now, in the compound effect of doing that several years now, I realize how much my wife cuts me off. And it's like, come on, man, I'll let you speak for like an hour. Can I have a moment? Can I finish my thought? Or my mother, she would, if I'm giving her some input, some feedback on something, she'll cut me off with a question that was going to be answered if she didn't cut me off. Like, come on, man.
That's a female thing. I do that a lot too.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you were just saying, is when it comes to the concept of taking those small measurable changes in life, it is something that you don't notice, within the first couple of months or even the halfway mark for that matters. And sometimes we get discouraged and we start to think, maybe this is not something that is for me, or maybe it's something that I need to change. And, long term, you get sidetracked, just like what we were talking about. And you start to drift off of the present goal, especially when you don't have that support system or you don't have someone that can connect with you on that level. You tend to get distracted. But for those that can stay consistent, even though you don't see it, you do your research, you understand that, okay, it's going to take time. Hard work is involved. And slowly, even past that halfway mark or even close to the end mark, you slowly start to see those changes. You got to stay consistent with it, because that's ultimately what's going to bring you that success. And even afterward, reaching that quote unquote goal, you still have to stay consistent, because just as hard as it was to get to that point, and you think that that's it, you still got to keep up with it. And I really think that's key to the whole concept of the compound effect.
And I do like how he said that we are living in an age where things need to happen overnight. So people do have a microwave mentality. So I'm watching the news and my views have become distorted on what success is because I'm watching TV all the time. So I believe that I can lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Like, I truly believe that, because that's what I'm being told from the TV that I'm watching all day, not paying attention to the fact that I'm sitting in front of a TV, which can't teach me very much in the first place. I'm sitting there, I'm not doing anything, gaining that weight, killing brain cells, and the whole time I'm over here like, yeah, I'm going to lose these 30 pounds, I'm going to grow my hair overnight, and then I'm going to look young tomorrow, just because that's what I'm being told. And it's just all false. It's all false. And when I don't see results, I'm ready to give up everything, become depressed. I want to sulk, all that. So I do understand where he's saying that consistency is the biggest key to success. And those smart choices that we make consistently over time, we will see huge rewards. That is the final outcome, rewards and success. But nobody's willing to hold on until we get to that point. But I am now. So we just need to eradicate bad habits.
Yeah,
Man.
I definitely agree with that. And I remember kind of like a quote that he said within the book about, we make a lot of decisions unconsciously, and we have to become more conscious of what we do and say. So even going back of what you was talking about with watching TV, and you see like these significant results within 30 days, it unconsciously make you think like, since they're showing it 30 days from when they started, you have to have the same results. It has to happen to you the same exact way. But, sometimes we kind of forget about the whole graphs of how you even catch people's attention. So, of course, we're all human, how we're wired. We want fast results. And he was key with the microwave effect. Just you want to be able to, if you can have a Thanksgiving dinner, put it all in the microwave versus waiting for hours, putting it in the oven.
Here you go.
Who wouldn't want that instant gratification? But, that's one of the main problems. We miss the concept of just the time and the effort that it takes for you to have something that you can sit down and enjoy versus just that instant gratification. And that's really where we have to get more conscious of what we do and how we do it, because it's affecting us when we see those things and not even realizing it, because that's how we're fed the information.
It's discouraging to see that on TV. Like, I'm looking at this skinny woman, and in 30 days, she lost all that weight. Why am I not losing that weight in 30 days like she did?
First
we
of
don't
all,
take into account the way our bodies are made up either.
First of all, she's a model, and she there. I mean, nobody. I heard this quote many years ago. I forget who said, but it was like, man, nobody has ever gone broke underestimating the intelligence of the American public. And it's very important for you to understand that a lot of the stuff you see on TV is not real. You know, it's all about framing so that they can make the most. Everybody, if you're on TV, well, I'll just say 10 years ago, if you was on TV, the number one objective was to make some type of revenue. I mean, you got people that just want to be famous for the sake of being famous, but you know, it used to be, especially, let's just say if you're selling something, if you're selling an idea, a service or a product, you're trying to get people to buy into it so that you can create income. So weight loss is no different. Like the supplement business, that shit is like a multi-trillion-dollar industry, you know, and most of it, like 85% of it, don't look up my statistics, but a lot of that stuff is not even like clinically proven. It's just people, they understand the power of marketing, the power of the science of marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like creating something very attractive, whether it's physical, colorful, well lit. You know, it's all about that frame. So I think everything is on point. Like y'all was saying, I know I was a victim of that shit myself. Like when I did a weight loss challenge, you knew me when I was doing the weight loss challenge, Maurice. Man, I had lost like 67 pounds just going in. Like, and I was consistently not drinking number water, working out, eating fruit, vegetable, doing everything I know I should do. And I seen the benefit of it. But then when I didn't get the result of what I thought I should have gotten, the compound effects started working against me on that. So those small actions I started doing, like incorporating alcohol back into my life, I would say composite food products. It's not even like real food, but just food products, like, you know, shit just made with like 1,000 ingredients. Then I started gaining my weight back. So it's like, man, it's a sliding scale, whether you're doing the right stuff or the wrong stuff, it's going to show some way. And, you know, you just got to, again, going back to where we say, you know, being conscious about your decision making decisions with your eyes wide open, you know, so that, you know, you always have like the best result or the preferred result instead of, you know, that result. And then that whole situation just started doing a number on your chemistry. And then there goes the downhill or uphill from it.
Yeah. Sounds like the ripple effect. That's what he was talking about too. Either those small changes that you are making contribute to your good behaviors and you become successful from it, or they contribute to your negative mentality and you fail because of it. So you have to always be mindful. And it's so hard to think about what you're thinking about. It's exhausting, but you really have to.
Yep. There's no new fundamentals, as Jim Rohn would say.
Okay. So you want to talk about the penny, the magic penny? Yeah.
And it's funny because I do like your segue, well, your pickup to the, before that though. That was dope.
Thanks.
But yeah, the magic penny. I remember you did this in a speech before, right, Reese? Because I remember you talking about the magic penny in the open forum in one of the speeches you did in the past.
Yeah, it was more of a taking the content from that information. I mean, it's not like the compound effect introduced a new way of how this information was already created. It was just more so repeated information. You know, before reading the compound effect, I never heard of the magic penny, but I slowly start to grasp some of the concepts that others have taken from this same exact concept. And it's just something that I kind of put my own little twist to it when I did a speech on it. But I love the magic penny. It's either you want that instant gratification or you understand what it takes for you to slowly make those changes in life to help you reach a higher goal than something that you can just put in the microwave, take out. Because anybody know that if you were to fix something in the microwave versus fixing something in the oven, it's a completely different taste. One might give you a faster result than the other, but is it healthier for you? You know, is it going to give you that same exact taste? You know, those are the things that we need to consider with the whole concept of the magic penny. Would you rather take a penny that doubles every single day for the next 31 days or $3 million? Instantly, you think, why wouldn't I take that, $3 million? It makes sense. Even when you go to break it down even more, that magic penny that was 1 cent the first day turned to $5.12 on the 10th day. Okay, and you still thinking like, okay, why would this make sense if I could get $3 million the day that you present it to me versus
right now.
The further you go along with it, that 20th day, you're at over $5,000. So it's still a big difference from a penny, but still doesn't measure up to $3 million. On that 30th day, you didn't pass $3 million. And that's not to say that you reached the end goal, because that $5 million is going to double on that next day, which is over $10 million. Mm-hmm. So I just love that concept because, the vast majority of people in life, they're going to go for that $3 million. And the faster that you look for results like that, you almost can get rid of what you have received just even faster because you want that instant gratification.
I like this story because that title, The Magic Penny, could easily become the consistent penny and still have the exact same outcome, because although the penny was doubling over those 31 days and you could have taken that $3 million, it became 10.7 million and you didn't pull ahead until the very last day. And that's important because I remember this quote from Martin Luther King: the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Sorry. Those words. But that just spoke to me because it's like we could easily cash out today, just take whatever's being given to us because it's right in front of us right now today. But if you hold on and be patient and consistent in your efforts, then your success will be that much greater.
I don't think it's a mystery why somebody could win $100 million in a lottery, but then 10 years now, you hear about them being broke again. And it's like that whole, what's that instant mentality, y'all say?
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. Yeah, man. It's like, I think it's something about consistency. It's just a certain type of wisdom that comes with disciplining yourself to be consistent and constant with a good habit. When I heard about the sister that kept bailing her guy out of jail, for like millions of dollars at a time, I'm like, man, first of all, as soon as you hit it big, you should have been ghost. You know what I
mean? Really?
Like,
you're encouraging that?
That's the fundamental difference between working for something. Because for one, to be successful at anything you do, it's going to require persistent and consistent effort. A lot of people that get things overnight tend to lose it because they don't have a principle. They don't have an underlying principle that's going to kick in automatically to make sure that they continue to preserve what they have. So yeah, that was a good example of that magic penny is a good example of all that.
Absolutely, and even going back to when you guys was talking about luck, a lot of people use that word in vain, meaning that, you're so lucky, or the only reason you got that success is because of luck. And depending on who you are, how you look at that word which I love that Darren Hardy spoke a lot about the word luck. Even Richard Branson, he loves to say that I was lucky. Everybody is lucky. Only a few people take advantage of it, though. Which I love the acronym that I picked up a little while back. Luck being labor under correct knowledge. And the reason that I love that is because you're taking what's known, the definition of the word luck, to a whole different concept, to a whole nother level, because, just thinking about a person saying that the word luck can mean to a lot of people that, okay, well, since they was lucky, it's no purpose in me even trying. That formula really breaks down to what you do with that luck. And he did cite those key principles of what Natasha was talking about. The preparation, which is 1, 2 being attitude, 3 being opportunity, and 4 being action. You put all 4 of those key principles together, you will be lucky.
Well, I don't too much subscribe to the concept of luck. I would like to say that I'm blessed. So, I've had
highly favored.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of lessons, like, again, with just my children, because of the way that I carry myself. I do believe that my children have picked up my good habits, and they're very loyal. They're very honest. They are selfless. And my daughters are just unbelievable. Like my oldest, she's 11. She's so great. I'm almost scared, like, because she's so good right now at 11. Like, she does what she's supposed to do. She goes where she's supposed to go. I don't have to question her a million times because I know she's going to do the right thing. And I do appreciate those blessings because, like I said, it allows me the opportunity to have more time to focus on my individual success. And that becomes even more important because it makes no sense for me to become successful and have all this money and not have anyone who I can actually pass down my business to. So I'm working as hard as I can right now today to make her the person that she needs to be in the future to take over a business and maintain her own family.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. Luck equals preparation, attitude, opportunity, and action. Attitude and gratitude, baby. That's what it's all about. And preparation.
I have a story how that works in both ways.
Go ahead.
When people are around you and they see how happy you are, people who are always depressed, they don't like that and they don't like to deal with you. I started working for the state in January. I was working for Department of Human Services. I would show up every morning 30 minutes before I was supposed to be on the clock because I left out super early. I like to be in the car. I want to listen to a record, well, not a record, but a CD, the whole ride to work and all that good stuff. So I would be listening to Fall Out Boy's Mania, the whole ride to work. So when I got to work, I was ready. I was lit. Like, come on, let's get these 200 people up in here. Let's get them to see these caseworkers. And my manager, she would always ask me, "What are you drinking?" Water. Like, that's the only thing I ever had in my cup was water. But I have been up since 5 o'clock. I have been to the gym. I've fed my babies breakfast. I've had a conversation with them. I'm leaving out the door in more than enough time. Although there was an accident on my way to work, I avoided it. I'm here safely. I'm still happy. I'm healthy. I'm ready to work. And she didn't like it. She didn't like it. She's like, you're way too loud. You have all this energy. And like, she would always try to send me to get her coffee. I'm like, no,
wow.
That won't do anything for me. I'm just here and ready to work. We got 200 people in this line. Let's get this line down. And it was like everything that I tried to create to make the work environment better and make these people, more pleasant standing in this line in the cold, she would always negate that. Always negate that. And that after so long, that did start to kill my attitude. And I was just quiet after a while. I'm just come to work, I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to go home.
What a bitch.
I won't call her that, but...
Sometimes you got to call a spade, man.
She is pure evil. She is pure evil.
So how you going to say somebody's pure evil, but they not a bitch? Like, come on now.
It's all in her attitude,
Come on now.
She's trying to be optimistic about it, even though
because I don't know what she has going on at home, but that's all the more reason to come to work and leave your problems at the door, because I did. I had so much going on. I always have so much going on. But when you have a conversation with me, I'm not sulking. I'm not depressed about it all the time.
First of all, you ain't gonna have no publications on the walls in the workplace saying if you're exhibiting flu-like symptoms, please stay home, and not be able to take away if you feeling bitchy, please stay home. You sick leave. Don't come to work.
Right.
Infecting other people with that
infectious disease. Spreading it.
It'd be nice if we can have some type of virtual status above our heads saying our mood, so you know how to try to conduct yourself.
My face always told my mood. I always had a smile on, even though it was like the filthiest place I've ever worked. I mean, people coming in there with lice. They had bed bugs. We serviced the homeless and the mentally disabled people, the population of Chicago. So dealing with those people already, you don't know their mental state. I'm nice to everybody. If John walk up in here prepared to shoot it up today because he's having a bad day, I want John to overlook me. So I'm going to be nice to him. I'm going to treat him like a person. And that was something she lacked. She didn't know how to treat people respectfully. And even when it came down to like education, I asked her one time about this one job, and I'm like, what is that about? And she was like, it's not something you would be able to do because you have to have a degree to work this position. Like, what? Because I'm a black girl, you think I don't have a degree? Like, it was so disrespectful.
Was she black?
No.
Oh.
No, do you think she would be black saying that to me? No. She didn't understand. She could not read body language, because if she had, she would have stayed away from me. So I ended up just not returning there because I knew it would have been a conflict later on. Because I can only take so much.
You have to know thyself. You're not always going to be put in an ideal situation to where you're going to be able to work with somebody of the ideal makeup. You know, somebody's not going to have the ideal attitude that you think they should have in the ideal environment, you know, that's kosher and well-tempered. You know, you ain't going to get that. And I think when you understand that it's different variables that feed into your energy, and you can recognize it, and then you can make a smart decision, which in your case, you decided that, you know, it just wasn't worth working in an environment that would steal your soul, you know, soul stealing.
I'll go home to my kids and I'm putting that venom into them because I'm angry from the day that I've had. Exactly. And it's not even the customers, it's the person who's there consistently, the boss, the manager, who should be spreading the most joy, showing up with cookies and cheese sticks for her employees. No.
I mean, that's the goal of a manager. A manager is supposed to create an environment to where their subordinates, their charges can thrive. That's their only fucking function, is to make sure they provide an environment that's going to promote your attitude being the best that it can be, so that you can give that ultimate customer service experience for the people that's coming up in there. But
right.
You're right. I think you know, you see a lot of that shit in state and federal government, because there's real
favoritism.
There's no, well, yeah, obviously, like nepotism, cronyism, favoritism. There's no obvious repercussion or a disciplinary system to weed out those weeds, because there's no bottom line to adhere to. Like in private industry, when you have a bottom line that determines the viability of your and the sustainability of your company, you always want to be conscious of feeding that positive environment and behaviors into your workforce, you know. But again, if something don't work for you, by all means, make the smart decision and decide to go work somewhere else. I mean, we still have that as a choice.
Yeah, in the book, Darren Hardy spoke about people finding their core values also. And he said, let that govern you. And I do believe that that's something that will make you even more successful, because I know I'm loyal. I know I'm honest. I know I display integrity at all times. I'm very selfless. And so I would like to surround myself with people who are the same way. And when I decide to start hiring people to work under me, they need to be the face of my company. And that means that they need to display all of those characteristics as well. I don't want somebody who's in here, you know, coming to work for me and they're lying. They always have a bad attitude. They're very selfish. They have zero integrity. They have a zero tolerance for other people, treating them with respect. I don't want that. So I make sure that I try as hard as I can be to be approachable. I mean, but people always say I have a mean face. It's just my resting bitch face. I don't know what else to say about it. Deep down inside, I'm a really nice person. So, I mean, I don't want to surround myself with people who are all for self, you know, and then get myself to becoming selfish because I've been screwed over so much, and then just have this negative attitude all the time. I don't want that. So I push it away. And people who are like that, I try to push them away too.
Yeah.
People are always texting me, you don't answer my calls. Yeah, because I blocked you. Yeah, that was on purpose. It was. When I joined the Army, I was so scared that everything was going to be different. When I came back, the world would be a different color. Like, I was just so scared. And at that point, I had my daughter. My daughter she had just turned 1 when I left for basic. And the day that I left for basic training, everybody in the building was sitting on the front porch, kicking it, talking crap. And when the day I came back from basic and from AIT, everyone was still on the front porch talking crap. So I had absolutely nothing. Nobody grew. Nobody had went to college and got a degree. Nobody even enrolled in school. Nothing changed. My daughter got a little bit taller. She stopped sucking the pacifier. She left the bottle alone. Those were the only changes that I witnessed when I came home. Nothing else changed.
Yeah, it is.
Can we talk about this that Thanksgiving notebook? Because I really like that too.
Let's talk about it.
The Thanksgiving journal that Darren kept for his wife. So he said for 1 year he wrote down at least one thing that he appreciated about his wife every day. And then on Thanksgiving the following year, he gave her the notebook. And he had bought her a BMW that same year. And she said that the notebook was more important and more special than that BMW. Like, and that means a lot because as a woman, I feel that men, they lose so fast just because they don't appreciate who we are. And I know, like, for myself, after I had my kids, I was lazy. I didn't want to do anything. I can't lie to nobody. My baby cried constantly. I was just depressed. And I wasn't supported through that. Like, my relationship was all bad. So I lost myself in that because I was only a mother at that point in time. And I could not be a spouse because I just felt overwhelmed. So something like this, a kind gesture like that, I think it would have changed the whole world for me.
Mm.
Yeah, that was real powerful. I love that what he did with the whole Thanksgiving, you know, just writing something positive. Well, I believe it was 3 things that he seen that was positive about his wife every single day up until Thanksgiving. And yeah, it's those small things, you know, tying back to the compound effect, you know, every single day adding up. And then at the end of the year, you got 365 days of positivityness. And did I just make up a word, positivity?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, carry on.
But it's definitely something real valuable, but it starts off with those small things. And I remember he said that just ask and do an elephant bite versus a mosquito. You know, you might see something real big and get scared of it, but it's those small little things that makes an effect on us. But you know, even with every single day doing something, just I say to write 3 different things about somebody positive would take 3 minutes, if that. You know, everybody got 3 minutes out of their time, but it makes such a big impact because he even spoke about he had an unconscious thing with he just seen so many good things in his wife, which that's what we need to value anyway. You know, these materialistic things, like you said with the BMW, is something that's materialistic. You know, it's not something that we can take with us when we're gone or that you can even have with you at all times. You know, when you're going to sleep, you're not sleeping in the BMW, I would hope. But, you know, with that book or that piece that he put together for Thanksgiving, it was real powerful because, you know, that's something real valuable. You know, it's like us taking pictures. is pictures are priceless, but the value behind the memories and, looking back to see what was created or how we were, that's more valuable than anything, anything that's materialistic. And I love it. I even tried to do the same concept when I first read the book. I went through a path of writing something positive with my wife every single day. And to be completely transparent, I wasn't consistent with it. It's just one of those things that I started. I kind of forgot about it. And, just tying back to what we were saying, that when you have that support system that help you stay on track, sometimes it reminds you of what you need to stay focused on. And even talking about this, it makes me say, okay, I think I want to, try to implement that concept again, because I do see value in just being able to. It doesn't even go down to just writing something positive about your wife. It's really narrowed down to having a positive attitude about something and staying consistent with it. Self-development. The more consistent you are with it, you start to notice the negative things that you're surrounded by. Like I remember even like when it comes to the news, CNN, depending on who you are, it's an acronym that can stand for constant negative news. And when we look at this news, their market solely it's based off around negativity, because as humans, we're drawn towards negativity. Think about a certain product or, something that you want to purchase. If you go online and you see something negative, you're going to click on that first. Whether you heard an opinion about something or you have an opinion about it yourself or going to it with a negative thought on it. If you see something negative that pops up on the top of the screen, you're going to go towards that first, because that's how we're wired. We've been hardwired with negativity. If it's something negative, I want to see that first before I see the positive.
Especially if it's a fight.
Yeah, we have to switch that around, but it does take the constant. You just have to stay conscious and be consistent with doing something positive. Is something as simple as writing something positive about your wife, your significant other, or anybody for that case. It helps you stay in a positive mindset and stay optimistic about things.
I agree. Two things I want to add to that. I say that when I was making a lot less money than I make now, I used to rationalize doing something with my wife and kids when we didn't particularly have the money for it. So it's like, damn, man, this experience is going to cost a lot of money. And then I would immediately self-talk myself and say, Quentin, now, when you look back on this situation, are you going to look at how much it cost you, or are you going to look at the experience that it made with you and your kids and your wife? And so now I can tell you, as many times as I said that in the past, I've never once, when I look back on those experiences, thought about how much money it was. The only time I thought about the money is when I use it in an anecdote like this. And I don't even recall how much I spent. I just remember that I didn't have an experience because I was trying to be conservative with the pocket. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not going to just be crazy frivolous either. But number two, that whole concept of, being hardwired to look for the negativity, I'm going to be honest. When I go on Amazon to look up a product, I go right to the negative reviews, but I start to evaluate the negative reviews. I'm like, man, is this person evaluating the quality of the product or the quality of the shipping or some other concept non-related to the product? Because usually most people experience is not really wired to the actual product they got. It's wired to some kind of accompanying experience that was unpleasant for them. And then I'll go up to the more positive reviews. So even still, like when you look at negativity, it's important to be conscious about why you're looking at it and what's the takeaway from indulging in that experience. You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to go against my nature to, I am going against the nature of trying to go to the positive instead of the negative, but I make a conscious decision to that. If I'm going to acknowledge the negative, I have to assess it, and then I have to assess why I'm in this experience, and then move on to a more positive one. But that's me.
Compound effect still. That just shows you it's not always exciting getting to the final step. Sometimes it's boring because I hate to sit there and have to debate whether or not I can do something. Most of the time, I'm always like, fuck these bills. I'm taking my kids to the circus. Like, I'm going to the movies. Like, it'll be okay. Because those bills will still be there. But my children are growing every day. Like, they need experiences. That just means I need to work a little harder. But today, fuck that. I'm going to the movies. Like,
and obviously, you want to get to a point where, don't wish things were easier, wish you was better. So, me, I was like, man, okay, I'll give you an example of the compound effect and just how, like, the whole having the mindset. Like, the compound effect is more of a psychology that you take on to get to a certain point. But then you have to have a participating mindset to even engage in the whole compound effect, right? You have to be willing to do it. You have to be accountable. So I remember when I first started Social Security, true story. We had a woman that had been there for like maybe 10 years. And let's say the position that I came in, I was making like $33,000 a year. Me and all the people that started at the same time, we was making about 33 grand, which is not a lot of money, but we looked at it as a foot in the door for an opportunity to take us to the next level. So clearly, this woman was not of the mindset that I was going to take the path of being a part of in the future. So she's telling us, she was like, man, she was like, look, honey. I mean, she was flashy. She was one of them tomboy chicks that just kind of like never came out of it. Like she was completely hetero, but she just dressed, like a nice guy. Like she was fly all the time, man. Like she had Beats by Dre, she was into all that shit. So anyway, she was bragging to us about how much money she makes after overtime. Like, technically she made a few $1,000s more than us base salary, but then she was clocking in like 55 hours, 60 hours a week. And she was making so after all that, over a 12-month period, she was making probably like 50 grand a year. And I'm like, damn, man. And she being braggadocious about it. Now me, I'm just being inquisitive. I'm like, I have like a childlike enthusiasm when I ask certain questions of things that just don't make sense to me. So I'm like, man, I'm looking at like, it's ways to make money horizontally and vertically. I'm more encouraged by the vertical, climbing the vertical ladder, because that way I get to make more money for my time without giving you extra time. And so I was like, well, why wouldn't you take all that extra time and energy? This is something I asked her. Why wouldn't you take all that extra time and energy, or at least some of it, and put that into preparing yourself to get promoted through to another level, so you don't have to work that many hours? And literally, she asked me to leave. And that was the last time I had a conversation with her. And that happened 10 years ago. I mean, I'm not even there in that agency period anymore, but that just goes to show you, like, in 9 years, it was instances where we would be in the elevator in the morning coming in or going home, and there would be not a word spoken. It's like, damn, the truth hurt you that damn bad
I don't want to be anywhere like that. That's just all bad. So because I've asked you a thought-provoking question, you are now upset with me? Like, why? And like how you said you have that childlike enthusiasm, I do too. So when people are telling me things, I will ask a really hard question. But it's like, if you haven't given your idea much thought, is it really a good idea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to hurt any feelings, but just asking a question.
Real shit.
Mm-hmm. You know, some people can't take on a new mindset if they've never been taught that, though. So they are just like robots operating according to what the schedule was that they were given. So it's like you know when you finish school, you go to work, and then you do the same thing you did at school. You're going to sit in front of this instructor and be given all the directions that you need in order to make your day as successful as you possibly can. But, you know, it's people like us who need to think outside the box. And then there's people like them who we hire.
Yeah, absolutely. And God bless them, because everybody got to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people just don't. I mean, a lot of people just don't have the wherewithal to be an entrepreneur. So I completely understand.
And I'll give you another anecdote. So when me and Reese was doing that, the cash flow game meetup, you know, I was enjoying the experience so much, man. I was looking forward to it. We came up with a fly ass promotional graphic. You know, we was doing these Facebook groups, like really trying to put energy into it, right? And then I would say like in April, I was like, wait a minute. I can't let 2017 close out without at least trying to get a property of my own based on the principles that I'm learning with this game. I was like, because to me, it was like, that's where preparation and attitude, you know, started to meet action. I'm like, there's no freaking way that I can consciously sit here talking about it and don't start walking in that direction. And long story short, that was me. That was the beginning of me becoming an investor. Action orientation, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, because I mean, it all ties into what are you surrounding yourself by, you know, and at point and as far as success, you want it to be an unconscious thing, even though we were talking about earlier that, you know, when you do things unconsciously, it could be bad, but that's only because we're so used to being surrounded by negativity, and we're so used to just the vast majority of people just wanting that instant gratification and things just not working in our favor. But no different from the analogy of you learning how to tie your shoe. You know, when you're a kid and you first learn how to tie your shoe, you consciously have to think about it. You consciously have to, I put the loop here, tie both of these, and I'm good. But eventually, unconsciously, you could do it without even thinking about it. You can do it while you're talking to somebody else, or you can hurry up and do it without even looking, so to speak. And as far as success, we want that to be an unconscious thing. And I think, you know, that kind of implanted in Q's head that as far as this real estate, this cash flow thing that we're doing, unconsciously, I can't let this year close out without me having a property. You know, at first it was a conscious thing, but it became something that I have to have this. You know, this is something that, yeah, you know, I'm actually practicing this in real life, you know, simulating it in real life. I have to get to that before this year ends, you know, so, but it might have not even happened if we wasn't actively doing this together, if we wasn't actively, you know, trying to see how could we bring the concept of this cash flow, this game, in our real life scenario, you know, real time. So, I mean, I think that's real powerful to, you know, surround yourself with like minds. And speaking of the compound effect, sometimes it takes for, you know, months to pass by before that concept can really grasp in your head to take actions in it.
You said a lot with that one, man, because that's exactly everything you just said was pitch perfect. Had not been willing to participate in that experience with you, I probably would have never had that desire incepted in my mind but just again, surrounding yourself with the correct people, having the correct mind state, and wanting to do something more than what you're already doing. Everything, like I tell my kids, it's okay. Just start walking in the direction that you think you want to go. Because two things are going to happen. One, not only will things start to move out the way for you, but things that to help you get to the next level will start falling in front of you at the same time. So that's compounding right there. It's like when you're doing what you're supposed to do and to achieve what you want to achieve, the negative shit is going to get out your way. And then all the positive stuff is just going to start becoming easier to attain. Like, man, it's like I'm highly favored. As you say, I'm blessed, and to me, that's the real concept. Like, man, I can't tell you enough. Like I'm having conversations with the alderman and the principal of my kids' school to incorporate the cash flow game into the as an after school program.
That would be dope.
Yeah, I mean, on the days that I work from home, I'll just go up to the school and then have a couple of hours with the game. And I was talking to Reese about it because, again, I like the way that he moderates the game, the way that he breaks down concepts. Because that way, if we do it together, we can eventually create something more, show other people how to do this, and then just kind of franchise it out as a developmental tool that we use until we eventually brand it into something else.
Yeah, I like how you said just start walking in the direction you think you want to go into, because I know when I graduated from high school, when I started college, I didn't know what I wanted to go to college for. And then after taking my prerequisites, I was like, I think I want to get into criminal justice. So I started taking all these criminal justice classes, and then I even applied for Department of Corrections. And then I saw how real it could be when I started watching all these lockdown shows. I'm like, no, I don't want to get beat up. No, I don't want feces thrown at me. No, I don't want no urine in my face. So I changed it, and I thought maybe I wanted to go into business. So I switched my major to business. I took a few courses, and I was like, no, this is so dry. Like, it's so boring. And then I ended up switching to psychology. And I was like, oh, this is dope. This is so deep. I like it all. And then now that I have my bachelor's in psychology, I've learned that I can get a master's in industrial organizational psychology. And it's basically telling people how to run their businesses. And I'll be just observing the workplace for the most part and getting paid top dollar like somebody who's a business owner. But it's still like a level above them. Yes.
I'd rather be paid to talk about how I can help you, or the psychology of getting you to the next level, instead of actually going,
Right, because sometimes it's simply that business owners don't have the time, or they don't care to read about how they can take their company to the next level. They just want to hire somebody who they can bring in the door. Like, show me what I need to do to make my workplace more productive, and how I can make my employees happy, and what I need to do to get to the next level in this industry. And like I said, that's me. Even if I don't pursue the actual master's degree, I think with the PMP, I'll get the same outcome, where I'm knowledgeable enough to just know where to go to read, because that's really all it is, a lot of research, and I'll be able to give the same results.
That's what's up. So I think this is good. We're going to just try to, in this segment, we're going to try to just give some takeaways.
I have so many.
Huh?
That I have so many.
You have so many? Well, you know what? At least let's just say 3 to 5. Okay. 3 to 5. So let me check my energy, because it's like I need to go eat now.
Okay.
Straight up. All right. So some takeaways, key takeaways. Mine, I would say that small choices and actions matter. Just like Black economics matter, so do small choices and actions. Also, full responsibility, taking full responsibility and being accountable for your actions. That's definitely a takeaway. And the understanding of that habits do stick. Anything that you put energy into, you want to create a habit, I would suggest trying to do it for at least 3 weeks. If you can commit yourself to 21 days of doing something, that's the foundation of creating a new habit. Some of the lessons that I would like for people to take away is when you come up with a new life goal, it's important to make it into a daily habit. until it becomes habitual. You want to create a routine where you can stick to it, but have it be manageable. Don't create goals that are too lofty, because you run the risk of not making them a habit, because you probably won't stick to them. If I say I want to lose 50 pounds in 6 weeks, that may not be realistic. The amount of output would jeopardize my consistency, and you want to do something, you're trying to create a habit. So it's best to take small bites out of an overarching goal. And the last thing that I want to impress is that, use your motivation to push you through the limits until you hit your goals. You always got to wake up. Every day you wake up, you got to have something. You got to remind yourself of what you're doing it for. You got to be conscious. You got to keep feeding that vision. Get your ass a vision board if you need it. But overall, that's what I wanted to offer in this segment. So what about you, Natasha?
I would like to say, find your motivation. Focus on disciplining yourself in order to get to the stage you want to be in life, to the final outcome. Forget instant gratification. And I always believe in bringing about change by speaking your truth into power.
Reese?
Yeah, I really, for me, I would have to say it narrows down to the 4 principles that he was talking about with luck. And 1 being preparation, 2 being attitude, 3 being opportunity, and 4 being action. I mean, all 4 of those can be broken down to really take into consideration what needs to be done. As far as preparation, attitude, how are you approaching things? How are you considering? I love how the Thanksgiving tracking, that he did. As long as you stay positive, have something positive to do and say every single day, unconsciously, you're going to be able to implement that without even thinking about it. And of course, even with those 2 things, opportunity is going to present itself, as far as the 3rd step. Opportunities is going to be there because you're walking into the direction that you're supposed to have for yourself as far as the goals that you want to reach, eliminating those people that you don't want to be around or don't need to be around. At the end of the day, taking all of those, putting it into action. You have to go and do it. It's one thing to say that I got a vision board. It's one thing to say that I got these goals in life, period. But what are you doing with it?
Word up. Well, I definitely appreciate my brother and my sister for joining me, and I look forward to this. I think a good follow-up would definitely be spending more time on the concept of future value, present value, and planning and preparation. But again, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you both. And we will get in tune sooner than later.